Alright, I went ahead and grabbed the rest of my religious titles. I don't think we might not get through all of them in this particular video, but we'll at least give it a shot to get through most of these. The last stack, the sixth stack is just 3 titles because on top of these were the start of my video games, and those are going to be in a separate video or a couple of videos to themselves. So let's go ahead and get started. Up first, we have Let Virtue Garnish Thy Thoughts with additional resources. And I just noticed this is an ASL thing. Hopefully there's actually spoken languages as well. And so just signs, because I don't understand sign language whatsoever. Yeah, it's 3 hours and 22 minutes from 2008. And the intent of this particular thing is to fight against combating porn. So it's combating porn here, as it says over here. To kind of like be like, hey, this is something that can be overcome. Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Lives of Service, the membership of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and it is 16 minutes long. It's funny, it says, note, this video may have been produced using older versions of the scriptures and outdated church terminology. I'm pretty sure all of these should have that warning at this time, at this point, because all of them seem to be kind of using outdated terminology and whatnot. I think it's funny that this one points it out for some reason. Right here. Yeah, a little bit blurry, but I think it's funny that this one is like, oh yeah, it uses outdated terminology. I think that's funny. I don't know if you guys think that's funny. I think it's funny. Next up, we have a 5-disc set of a 3-part series, and that is the Living Bible Collection, the greatest stories ever told. Got it for $1, and it's one of these big boy cases. Many compartments. 3 compartments, I think. Yes, 3 compartments for the discs. And let's close properly. It's 800 minutes long in color. That's also very long, but for a series, it makes sense. The stuff included, I don't know in disc order how these would appear, but maybe there's a guide. No, there's not a guide in the front. Okay, wow, not helpful. Closed weirdly, like squished. Anyway, what's included here? We have Jesus the Christ, which I think is on the last disc. Acts of the Apostles, and the Old Testament. And then special bonus film, The Power of the Resurrection. It doesn't have it's region 0, so it's playable all over the world. From the 80s, looks like. doesn't have run times for the individual entries on here, just the total of 800 minutes. So I'm gonna move on from that one now. I'll have to check that one out somewhere down the road. Next up, we have Lorenzo Snow, the from the Modern Prophets collection. Right here. This particular thing came out in between 2001 and 2002. Doesn't necessarily mean that's when this takes place. Takes place. It covers a at least from the back of the thing here, back of the case here. Lorenzo Snow was born in 1814, my bad, and was baptized into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in 1836. But judging from that being an old man pictured, I'm guessing it probably covers his entire life in 88 minutes. That's just a guess. I'm not sure if it does that or not. So, moving on. Next up, we have Missionary Training DVD Disc 1. There isn't a Disc 2. I don't know why they specified Disc, or at least I didn't. When I got this, I didn't see that a Disc 2. But, yeah, here we go. This is from April 25th of 2003. It doesn't say how long this is. Which means it has an insert here that probably has a bunch of itemized run times. Yeah, it does. Okay. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time trying to figure out how long this total runtime would be, but let's give a general estimate here, I guess. I'm going to guess it's approximately 3 to 4 hours, maybe. These are some short runtimes, but there are a lot of them in there, so I'm guessing maybe 3 to 4 hours. Or 2 to 3, perhaps. We'll see. Anyway, not sure. I can add those up later on the flip phone Mark II and see what its total is and write it on the outside. I've done that before with other things that written the runtime when one wasn't provided. And then we have, oh, this one's hilarious. This one's actually really funny. Mobsters and Mormons. The only thing they have in common is the family. This one's really funny. PG, came out in 2005, playable all around the world. I don't recognize any of the cast names, but my goodness, I was laughing a lot in this one. 93 minutes. Very funny. Very funny story. Definitely check it out if you haven't already. Next up, we have Mormon Temples of America, another one that's apparently outdated because we're to refer to ourselves as the members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints now instead of just LDS or Mormon, because apparently both of those nicknames have negative connotations to them for who knows why. Unfathomable reasons. But anyway. It's a 2-disc video journey to all 61 U.S. temples. There's a lot more now. Featuring 59 songs by Janice Cap Perry, Stephen Cap Perry, and Lynn Perry Christopherson. There's a lot more than just 61 titles now. I think now we're over like 150 or 150 plus. This came out in 2006, so that would explain why it's so much lower of a count. and it's 2 hours and 36 minutes right here. Well, that's weird. The cover is on upside down, and the way I can tell is that looks upside down. It looks like it should be like this, but it's not for some reason. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Next up, we have The Mountain of the Lord, and it is 1 hour and 13 minutes. And it's about the building of the Salt Lake City Temple. So, here we go. Cool. Next up is New Testament presentation, or DVD presentations 1 through 25. And this one doesn't have a total runtime, but it does list the runtimes of the individual segments on the back of the case. So I guess I'll read those out in a second. But is there a quicker way of doing that without reading the whole thing? But there is a longer, more complicated way on the inside of this booklet. So I'm just going to read them off the back. And here. Disc 1 has segments 1 through 12, which are as follows. Come unto me with 11 minutes 36 seconds. The Maze at 10 minutes and 7 seconds. New Testament Setting, 12 minutes 45 seconds. New Testament Customs, 14 minutes 32 seconds. The Nativity, 5 minutes 50 seconds. Heavenly Things, 8 minutes 46 seconds. The Woman at the Well, 7 minutes 18 seconds. Thy Faith hath made thee whole, 16 minutes 42 seconds. Parables, 13 minutes 25 seconds. Justice and Mercy, 6 minutes 28 seconds. The Sacrament, 12 minutes 13 seconds. To this end was I born, 27 minutes 20 seconds. And then disc 2 has segments 23 through 20, or 13 through 25, my bad. They are in that, from top to bottom. The Road to Emmaus, Emmaus, E-M-M-A-U-S. I'm not sure how that would be pronounced. 5 minutes 30 seconds. Feed My Sheep, 13 minutes 4 seconds. Long Promised Day, 8 minutes 52 seconds. Paul, A Chosen Vessel, 11 minutes 34 seconds. The Doctrine of Grace, 14 minutes and 4 seconds. Faith and Works, 8 minutes 32 seconds. The Body as a Temple, 7 minutes 18 seconds. Godly Sorrow Leads to Repentance, 9 minutes 25 seconds. The Law of the Harvest, 3 minutes 24 seconds. The Whole Armor of God, 14 minutes 43 seconds. The Second Coming, 5 minutes 41 seconds, or 51 seconds, my bad. Next to last on this collection we have The Just Shall Live by Faith, 12 minutes 32 seconds, and helps for understanding the Book of Revelation, 8 minutes 36 seconds. And with some of the things in Revelation nowadays could be very much an acid trip, because some of it are like, whoa, that's happening now, what the heck, type things. Yeah, that's why it's like an acid trip, because it'd be like, whoa, this is actually like going on in the world today, and they were talking about this thousands and thousands of years ago, maybe even millions of years ago, who knows. Then last up for this section is an alternate New Testament DVD presentation. This one doesn't say DVD presentations 1 through 25. It just says DVD presentations And it has an arrangement back here that I'll read. I don't need to read the individual runtimes for because it does say it's an hour and 34 minutes total. But here we go. Yeah, cool. Next up is this stack. And we have the animated stories from the New Testament. Lazarus Lives, and it is 30 minutes. Doesn't have any sort of runtime indication, but it's Dove family approved. That's what this Dove logo or symbol means. Which means I'm going to wager a guess to say that it would be a G rating. There we go. Next up is a 2-movie collection. They aren't bundled together as a collection, but they are a predecessor and a sequel type thing. And that is Once I Was a Beehive. From the producers of The Serotonin Approach, a girls' camp movie based on thousands of true stories. Allegedly. I've heard the portrayals are less than faithful to what actual girls' camp event or thing or adventures would be like. It features Paris Warner. The first thing I remember seeing with her in it, the brunette, was Not Cinderella's Type during my mission, and that was a really funny movie that I enjoyed a lot. And this one's rated PG. I think that Cinderella one that I mentioned is too. And it's 94 minutes. And Paris Warner's is the only name that I recognize on the back of the case here. Playable worldwide. I have the Blu-ray and the DVD, but the cases look the same, so the discs. So I kept the Blu-ray case, as is the case with the next one, no pun intended there. And that is Once I Was Engaged, right here. This one came out in 2024, whereas this one was 2015. So 9 years later, give or take, depending on the time of year. And again, Paris Warner is the only name that I recognize on the back of the case. An hour 47-minute runtime. Is that 2024? Is that a 4? I can't tell if that's a 4 or a 1 actually. So it might be 2021. I'll have to look on the disc and see if it's a little clearer. But anyway, another really good movie. Next up, we have On the Way Home. A family's faith-promoting journey toward peace, understanding, and eternal promise. Looks like it's a returned missionary type story, because I see a missionary tag on the front here. But there's a missionary tag right there. And it looks like there's some missionary teaching on the back here. It's 30 minutes long. Playable worldwide. And yeah. Next up, we have On the Lord's Errand. Right here. It's an hour long. Came out in 2008. There we go. Trying to remember who. Thomas S. Monson. President Monson on the front of the thing here. Yeah, on the side there. In my defense, I don't remember seeing him this young before, so I recognize him better here than I do here. Next up, we have Old Testament visual resource DVDs. Right here. This doesn't have a total runtime on the back, but it's a 3-disc set that contains over 300 visual resources. So let's see. I think it's got a beefy book in here. 58-page booklet. Wow. This one I'm going to say is probably close to the runtimes of those general conferences, I'm going to guess. Where maybe like the last few of them were like 9 hours or so. I feel like this would be pretty long with a 58-page booklet included. But there we go. I do have both movies in this next franchise here, but I only have the case for the first one, for the second one. My bad. And that is The Other Side of Heavens 1 and 2, Fire of Faith. Again, I only have the case for the second one, which is a bit unfortunate, but it's based on a true story, and it's a funny one. It's a funny story there. So yeah, if you haven't seen this 2-movie collection, I know this isn't this particular copy is not a 2-disc or a 2-copy disc, but there are 2 of them, and they are both really funny. It's PG-13, 117 minutes, just shy of 2 hours there. I think the first one has a similar runtime, and yeah, it's really fun. Initially, this character was played by Anne Hathaway in the first one. So yeah, I'll go ahead and read the while butchering his last name, I'll go ahead and read the description on the back here. Missionary John H. Groberg, I think is how it's pronounced, returns to Tonga in the 1960s with his wife and their young daughters. When their first son is born with a serious illness, the Grobergs face their ultimate test of faith, only to find themselves surrounded by the love and prayers of thousands of Tongans. Barriers of interreligious strife are soon broken down as all unite in hopes of a miracle that will save the baby's life, as well as the life of a Tongan minister's son. While he was on his mission, since the people on the Tongan island he went to couldn't pronounce Elder Groberg, they called him Kalipoki, that's their funny little nickname for him, which I believe carries over into the second one. It's been a while since I've watched those. But next up, we have Our Heavenly Father's Plan. And it's 27 minutes. The back of the case design looks very similar to the front. So there we go. I find myself checking these to make sure they're actually empty this time around. So anyway, next up is a PureFlix triple feature with the Book of Esther, Apostle Peter and the Last Supper, and the Book of Ruth, Journey of Faith. I don't think there's any overlap with the actors in these. And I don't recognize any of the names listed on the titles, each of those. And does not give the runtime. Rude. It doesn't have the runtimes. Wow. Oh, on the inside, I looked them up and combined it as 271 minutes, just shy of, gosh, what would that be, like 5 hours? Something like that. Let's see. 240 minutes would be 4 hours. I know because it's 2 hours, or because the Snyder Cut of Justice League is 242 minutes with an hour, or with a 4 hour and 2 minute runtime. So this is like 4.5 hours, I would say, between the three. Anyway, next up we have Paul, Apostle of Christ. This one is PG-13 and 107 minutes. Here we go. Jim Caviezel plays Christ in this. He's played that role before as well, numerous, or a few times. I'm not going to say numerous, but a few times he has. So yeah, put out by Sony, or distributed by Sony, I should say. Next up, we have The Perfect Stranger and Another Perfect Stranger. And both of these ones feature a mother and daughter duo, where both of them kind of were like, yeah, I don't know if religion's all my cup of tea anymore. And the mom ends up having dinner with a guy that's revealed to be Christ at the end. And in the second one, her daughter, after being tired of hearing the story of how her mom had dinner with Christ, while on a flight, ends up sharing not one, not two, I think 3 flights with someone who's also ends up being revealed to be Christ. Or at least twice that happens. Set 10 years later. The run times are an hour and 5 minutes and 96 minutes. Yeah, both are really good movies. The aspect ratio are different. Like this one was made, I think, for an older TV, probably because it was a bit more like condensed, like this, that's about the size of the screen that you'd be looking at to watch the first one, and then the second one takes up the whole screen, which I thought it was just an interesting distinction between the two. Yeah, both are really good movies. I think I like the first one a bit more, but they're both really good. So there you go. Next up, we have Phase 1 videos. Man's Search for Happiness, The First Vision, and the Restoration of the Priesthood. Right here. 45 minutes long. Broken down in that same order that I listed on the front here. We have 13 minutes and 16 seconds, 10 minutes and 53 seconds, and 20 minutes and 34 seconds. So, yeah. I think I might go ahead and do one more stack in this video and do the next 3 stacks in another one. So here we go. Next up, continuing from the previous one, we have Phase 2 videos, 10 selected presentations. And they're an hour and 39 minutes total. And they go from 1st to 10th are listed on the back, like the first presentation to the 10th one. We have fortifying your family with a 4-minute runtime. Baptism, a promise to follow Jesus with a 9-minute 4-second runtime. The Law of the Fast with a 4-minute 28-second runtime. How Rare Possession, the Book of Mormon, a 22-minute 53-minute or a 22-minute 53-second, my bad, presentation thing, which I think I have an individual copy of that we covered in a previous video. But moving on. The Lamb of God, 28 minutes even. Sixth, we have What Think Ye of Christ, 5 minutes 29 seconds. The Test, 5.5 minutes. The Blessings of the Priesthood, my bad, at 7 minutes 24 seconds. Ninth is Missionary Work, Our Greatest Duty, at 5.5 minutes again. And Temples, and the last one listed here is Temples Are for Eternal Covenants, at 6 minutes 24 seconds. So here we go. Next up, we have this one, which speaks for itself. And it is 80 minutes long, right here. This one kind of goes along with another one that we covered previously, so it's good to learn how to combat that corruption. Next up, we have Preach My Gospel DVDs, the District 1, and demonstrating principles of planning, finding, and working with members. This is 5 hours and 33 minutes, and has a whole bunch of different things listed. I'm not going to go through them because there's so many, but if you want to pause and read them, that should be clear enough to read them right there, perhaps. I'll go ahead and read the first, what's on disc 1 at least, because that's just 3 items, and that is Preach My Gospel District 1, episodes 1, 2, and 3. In that same order, the runtimes are 29 minutes 39 seconds, 33 minutes and 47 seconds, and 31 minutes 33 seconds. The rest would just take too long to go over. In a similar vein, we have at 3 hours and 50 minutes, we have Preach My Gospel DVDs District 2, and demonstrating principles of teaching, right here. Another disc 1 also has 3 episodes on it that I'll read off here. They are episode 1 at 37 minutes 55 seconds, episode 2 36 minutes and 15 seconds, episode 3 38 minutes 36 seconds, right here. And then there's a whole bunch of these other ones. If you want to pause and try and read these and the runtimes, feel free to do so. Hopefully it's clear enough on your screen and not blurry to do so, if you so desire. Next up, we have Presidents of the Church. And it covers from our first prophet of Joseph Smith to our 15th prophet, Gordon B. Hinckley. This came out in 2003, so like I said, outdated. I think we've had 3 or 4 other prophets since then. But yeah, so here's that and that. Let's see. all the prophets included are Joseph Smith with Brigham Young, John Taylor, Wilford Woodruff, Lorenzo Snow, Joseph F. Smith, Heber J. Grant, George Albert Smith, David O. McKay, Joseph Fielding Smith, Harold D. Lee, Spencer W. Kimball, Ezra Taft Benson, Howard W. Hunter, and Gordon B. Hinckley. I think this is, 3-disc set. So five prophets per disc. I suppose I should read off the runtimes. The runtimes are split into 2 sections: documentary, labeled with a D, and testimony, labeled with a T. So I'll go ahead and read those. In the same order that we already covered them. We have documentary, 18 minutes, 8 seconds, testimony, 1 minute, 15. Documentary, 16 minutes, 23 seconds, testimony, 45 seconds, or 46 seconds, my bad. Documentary, 16 minutes, 11 seconds, testimony, 1 minute, 32. Documentary, 17 minutes, 47 seconds, testimony, 38 seconds. Documentary, 16 minutes, 37 seconds, testimony, minute 13. Documentary, 16 minutes, 35 seconds, testimony, 39 seconds. Documentary, 15 minutes, 54 seconds, almost 16. Minute 10 for the testimony. Documentary, 15 minutes, 34 seconds, minute 19, testimony. Documentary, 18 minutes, 33 seconds, and with a minute 6 second testimony. 16 minutes and 2 seconds for documentary 10, and a minute 47 for that testimony. Documentary 11, 14 minutes 53 seconds, and with a minute 40 testimony. Documentary 12 is 13 minutes 55 seconds with the testimony of a minute 17 seconds. 13 documentary is 18 minutes and 6 seconds, testimony of a minute even. Documentary 14 is 28 minutes 33 seconds, which I think is the longest of the, or second longest of the bunch. The last one is the longest. And the testimony for that one is a minute 29. And then the longest one, we have documentary 33 minutes 57 seconds with a minute 13 testimony. So long-winded. I'm going to try and add those up and write it on the front again, like I did with some of my other ones I've already referenced, wanting to do that with one of them. Next up, we have An Evening with President Boyd K. Packer, a conversation with teachers from February 29th, 2008. Right here. It's an hour, 16 minutes total. And next up, we have The Restoration, right here. I'll read the synopsis on the back here in a second, but it's a 20-minute video. And it says, each of us is a child of God. He is our Heavenly Father, who loves us and wants us to return to live with Him. We can do this by living the gospel of Jesus Christ. Throughout time, God has repeatedly reached out in love to His children by revealing this gospel to prophets such as Adam, Noah, Abraham, and Moses. However, people repeatedly choose to reject the prophets and their teachings. 2,000 years ago, God sent His Son, Jesus Christ, to atone for the sins of the world and to overcome death. Jesus also taught His gospel, chose His doctrine, His apostles, and established His church. He gave His apostles priesthood authority to perform ordinances and and directed them to take his gospel into all the world. But just as the prophets were rejected in previous ages, the people rejected and killed his apostles. As a result, priesthood authority was taken from the earth. Because of God's love for his children, he has reached out to us, just as he has done in the past. This DVD presents the glorious beginning of the restoration of the church, the gospel of Jesus Christ in our time through the prophet Joseph Smith. It confirms that our Heavenly Father heard a humble prayer and through Joseph restored the fullness of the gospel of Jesus Christ once again upon the earth. How can people have doubts about my faith with that kind of backing on it? It is beyond me. But I'm not going to argue with anyone about that. So here we go. Next up, we have two that kind of go hand in hand. That explains why this one's under R, and that is the best 2 years. It's kind of a duology with the RM. RM stands for Return Missionary, in case you're unaware of what that means. And these are more church comedies, kind of like Singles Ward and Single Second Ward, which I have a case for, I think, one of them coming up here. But I have both of them, but I only have the case for one. But yeah, this one is PG and 109 minutes long from 2004. And it's hilarious. These types of movies are very funny, and they're like a more wholesome type funny in some ways. Sometimes they're a bit like, okay, that shouldn't be funny, but it is. But it's family friendly humor, we'll put it that way. So yeah, the best 2 years, which is the average duration for male missionaries. Sister missionaries are a year and a half generally. And then we have the RM from the guys who made the Singles Ward. And again, RM means return missionary. I myself am one of those RMs. This one's an hour and 1 minute, or not an hour, 1 minute. This one's 101 minutes, my bad. And it looks like this one actually came out first, but this one is like a precursor to it, so I put it before. Anyway, this one's PG, like the other one is. And yeah, funny stuff. So here we go. Next up, we have Sacred Vow, another one of those Paris Warner movies. I was trying to get a lot of her movies there for a while because I liked a lot of her stuff that I had seen. This one's 85 minutes. Right here. I'll read the description on the back of the case here. It says, Doug and Amber were madly in love and were married in their college years. They enjoyed building their life together. Amber worked 2 jobs to put Doug through school. They soon shared in his business success and built a life together and had a beautiful daughter. Flash forward 15 years. Amber has continued to be diligent and committed to her marriage. Doug, on the other hand, has fallen into the traps of an unfaithful spouse and seemingly wants more. Through a series of events, tragedy strikes and just might give the couple a chance to survive against all odds. So this one has more of a serious tone, but it's still approved for ages 12 and up, according to the Dove Movie Company. It doesn't have an actual rating listed that I can see. So here we go. Ferris Warner plays the younger version of Amber in the 15 years later version. Next up, we have Saints and Soldiers 1, just called Saints and Soldiers. This is a PG-13 trilogy. There are 3 of them, as is common with trilogies. After pointing out that there were 3 of them, I was like, all trilogies have 3 entries. Duh, that's why it's called a trilogy. Poking fun at myself there for a second, because I pointed out something that didn't need to be pointed out. Anyway, the first one came out in 2005 and is an hour and a half, 90 minutes. Based on actual World War II events. So here's the first one here. The third one will be covered in the next video, but to close out this video, we have Saints and Soldiers 2, Airborne Creed, right here. This one covers the action-packed story of 3 World War II U.S. Army paratroopers that are fighting in World War II, obviously. And this one is 95 minutes, came out in 2012, and once again is PG-13. All right. I'm going to go ahead and end this video here, and we'll cover the last 3 stacks of titles, including the one that just has those 3 included. In the next video, I'm going to go ahead and upload this one. I don't want it to get too super long, because I'm trying to make shorter videos for preserving my voice mostly, but it's also easier to watch through things that are shorter. Unless you're me, I could watch stuff like this all day. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.